On Ancient Earth is an exhibition about the relationships we have with what lies beyond the outer edges of Earth's atmosphere. This is the fourth and final episode in a series of artist talks accompanying the exhibition. And the exhibition can be seen at theartistexpeditionsociety.com/on-ancient-earth until the end of the day today. This talk series is broadcasted from and tuned into from many places around the world, but the central base of this exhibition and webinar series is Alice Springs, Mbuntwa, Australia, which is on Aranda country. I would like to acknowledge elders past, present, and emerging. There is a very insightful welcome to country by local Aranda woman Kumali Riley associated with the exhibition, and it's available to view on the website until the exhibition closes at the end of the day today. This exhibition and talk series is a part of Desert Festival, an annual arts event in Alice Springs, and this talk series specifically has been funded by the Alice Springs Town Council. On Ancient Earth was co-curated by Lumen's Rebecca Huxley, who's on the call today, co-hosting, Louise Beer and Melanie King, and myself, Anna Dakin, from the Artist Expedition Society. Today's speakers are Shania Sivandra, who is an emerging visual artist and filmmaker based in London. Shania's choreographed film Hoax Meeting merges performative moving bodies into constellations, and the film can be viewed on Ancient Earth until the end of the day today. We also have Sai speaking. Sai is an artist, strategist, and educator based in London. Sai's work typically takes the form of performance, installation, and drawings. Their piece, Yes, I Am Still Up, can be viewed on Ancient Earth until the end of the day. Today, Sai's talk will finish with a guided experience that will require you to lie down, so do just have a little think about accessible locations to lie down and relax for that part of the talk. And Shania, I'm going to hand over to you now for your talk.
So my name's Shania, but obviously my artist name is DRAN, and that's basically because I'm very much interested in this idea of othering and duality within my work. Like I see my kind of art and my performance as kind of me, like a different embodiment of something else. And that's basically very much driven by this interest in spirituality and spirit mediumship and the relationship between spirit matter and the body. As Anna explained, I'm a visual artist and filmmaker. I'm very much interested in social discourses and mental health through a parapsychological lens, which is basically seeing, exploring mental health issues, and in this case for Hawks Meeting, very much about social discourses through supernatural images and paranormal experiences, exploring the hidden sensitivities, unseen behaviours, subconscious fears. Within my work, I act as both the spirit medium and the artist, mediating interpersonal relationships between spiritual matter and the performer, which obviously is what I kind of said about this idea of duality. It's very much a recurring motif within my work. And I'm very much interested in kind of transcending the human capabilities of the body and the mind. I do that through digital technology, animation, VFX, and film, and all combined with kind of like a dance-led practice in some sense, because I come from a dance background, so I used to train at the place. And now I'm very much interested in performance design, seeing how I can combine both of my passions within the body as well as digital technology. This is obviously a bit about Hawks Meeting, which is on the expedition website, and it's about proposing the night sky as vibrant matter, and the idea of stars becoming bodies colliding and shifting in the darkness, and just seeing how I can translate performative movements and choreographic routines through trying to connect that with stellar constellations and astronomical patterns in some sense, because there's this kind of relationship between the body and the night sky through looking at spirituality. And I feel as though we can kind of mediate that relationship through animation and digital technology much more succinctly. So the main kind of point for this talk is how can we create spiritual relationships between the night sky and the body, particularly in how this shared power between humans and the universe can be communicated through digital technology, performance and film, which is basically kind of what I've already been speaking about, but I will be speaking about that in more detail. We can suggest the night sky as a community of performers or bodies. The night sky is lively matter. I'm very much interested in this idea of thing power. We can really see the night sky as kind of this kind of combination of things. It has this identity, it kind of stares back at us. And we as humans, we assign our own personal cultural heritage, and we create this identity or this character within the night sky. We all have our own personal connection to it. And I really wanted to translate that through this piece, Hawk's Meeting, seeing how these things have become part of our own lives, and how we can experience ourselves as spiritual matter. And I believe that with kind of emerging technologies, new innovations, we can really try to transcend these capabilities of the body, really try to envision how the body can be experienced in different ways. And this idea of the aliveness and the personality of the night sky. And that's another film still, and I think that really translates the idea really well. It's kind of like the ways in which these bodies are kind of moving together. It's kind of like the way in which kind of the night sky and stars kind of meet together. They always change, always move in different places, and it changes constantly. And it's based kind of exploring space and time, but kind of exploring the wider space of the universe with this kind of small space of this film. So kind of trying to play with scale in some sense. Digital technology allows us to characterize non-human materials more effectively. So it's kind of what I've just said. And I like to see the stars as performers, linked between technological coding and sacred geometry. So to create these kind of animations, I use Unity, and partly to create these kind of movements, you have to kind of be able to code in some way. And I kind of realized through the process of making this piece, there was this sort of sense of kind of a sacred geometry in some sense, because I've been reading the book Sacred Geometry by I think his name's Jack Lowden, I think, and it really goes through this idea of how the body and mathematics and science in some way are really connected together. And he talks about this idea, this ancient concept of oneness, and it's about ancient geometric structures resemble metaphysical unity. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this piece, kind of creating this unity through patterns, geometric structures, and kind of trying to see a different side, or kind of trying to characterize the night sky in a different way. And the concept of oneness, it kind of attempts to reflect this formal order of oneness between all life forms. And I mean, the idea of the body in the night sky has been kind of around since the medieval times. I mean, I think it was Zodiac, I think, was the first kind of iteration where we think about the universe and these metaphysical principles as kind of something linked to a human character or the body in some sense. And moving on, this idea of the symeretics of the night sky and star constellations and the relationship between stars and choreography. My practice is very much to do with obviously dance and choreography, and I wanted within this piece to really see how I can choreograph these animated forms in some way, and they all meet together to really translate the movements of the night sky, and seeing how they are kind of, the night sky are these kind of multiple signs, and they kind of collide together. They can be kind of translated into a notational movement that I can use to then actually create this piece and create something that kind of uses universal time, uses something that is more transcendental to actually create a choreography that is small and compact. Seeing how we can interpret the ways in which stars collide and perform one another, and seeing how the night skies are a microcosm of how dancers move in space, which is kind of relevant to now, I guess, because now there's kind of social restrictions for dancers to move together, so we have to find ways of trying to connect different bodies together in some sense. And I feel as though, for me, my personal opinion of the stars and the night sky is that they are like the permanence within the absence in some sense. They are always together, they're always meeting, they resemble us as human life, we look up to them, and they're the only kind of community of different things that can actually still be together. And as dancers, as people, we have restrictions on this earth to actually, we are unable to be together in some sense. So I think our connection to the night sky is more powerful than ever, and as artists we have to try and create kind of work that actually reflects that concept. So for this piece, the structure of Hawke's Meeting, it really combines spiritualist practices and physical mediumship. So the whole piece is kind of reference to this idea of a seance, and you see this kind of community of hands coming together, and it's kind of these stars, these kind of astronomical patterns and forms are all materialized by the hands. So it's kind of like a paying homage to the night sky in some sense. They become supernatural forms, they become apparitions. We experience them in very avant-garde ways, we experience them in different ways. And the film renders this notion of star consciousness materialized from the body, since the body and the universe are connected. And obviously this idea of transcendence, which I've reiterated a couple of times. Here are some like film stills where you can see this kind of patterns becoming, I think I've lost my, oh, it's my mouse, no. Patterns becoming bodies, and performers engage with one another, becoming astronomical objects, they're becoming stars in some sense. So all materialized from the hands. And this is obviously the ending, kind of just showing this relationship between just kind of playing with scale, playing with expansion, playing with time through different ways and through animation, I guess, and VFX. Here's some other stills. And yeah, that's the end of my artist talk, and I have nothing else to say now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Shania. That was very interesting. Halfway through Size Talk, we will be transitioning to a more comfortable location, which can be your bedroom, or a sofa, or somewhere comfortable to lie down. So just have a little think about where you might want to get comfortable for halfway through Size Talk.
Right, hello. My name is Sai, and my work, yes, I'm still up, is showing on Ancient Earth this time. In this 20 minutes we have together, I'm hoping to share why I made the work, where is it going, and some ideas of what I find fascinating as an artist. So I have 6 slides to help me along the first part, and depending on how we get on with time, I hope I can share a snippet of another work I'm making, which Anna did introduce a but if possible, if you can do it by listening, lying down would be ideal. But if you can't, I say close your eyes would do. So before I proceed, I'd like to thank the curators and the organizers and the fellow artists of making this exhibition such a knockout. So, and finally, I'm really grateful for everybody who is here right now to hear about the work. And without further ado, let's go. Let's first make myself a bit smaller and move myself to the side. Okay, so yes, I'm still up. It's a collection of images and videos of the night sky from friends who are kind of like guiding stars of my journey through life. The work intended to contemplate 3 themes, which is the moon, the night, and horizontality, so being horizontal. So the video, if you haven't seen it, I'll give you a quick run through, was composed of a mix of donated images of videos from 15 or so friends of mine who are my rock in the last 5 years, and also currently, so they were rock in the last 5 years of my life when I had very, very tough time with enormous personal and health challenges. So they have really been there for me when I was quite alone. And the images and videos came in various resolutions and formats, and I kind of try to do as little of them as possible. Ideally, I would like to have this compilation of images presented on glass slides on a slide projector. Somewhere it's almost like replicating the kind of holiday show reels people used to show me when I was young. I have to say I was quite young during that time. Very quickly people moved on to digital things, but I quite like the sound it clicked and the atmosphere it created, and most importantly, it is kind of a good reminder of me, for me, of a family gathering. And this video is kind of about chosen family. So like I was saying, ideally I like to present it that way, but obviously it is not suitable for this show and this kind of time of the year. But these are some of the images that kind of didn't make it to the show. So I actually call a lot of my friends during nighttime when I feel particularly bad, and equally they do the same. So they donated a lot of these images and kind of make me feel like they were near me. So this one was in Tel Aviv, and it was an accidental image taken of the moon. I think this one is in Syria when a friend of mine taken it in a car, and this one is in China, in southern China, when they had a festival where they were flying lots of lanterns. So this, and then we go to the next one. So the image on the left, I think it didn't make it in for some reason. It was actually a building on the this one here. I'm putting myself right there. This one, the tiny building was actually one I lived in, and the one that's next to it was sort of where my cousin is. Pointing it this way, I think. Yeah. So, and then this one is a picture I've taken when I was flying around on my own, working a lot. So, as I mentioned earlier, that yes, I'm still up is also part of my research inquiry into 3 themes. So the first one we're looking at is the night. So the picture shown here, I don't know if it's very easy to see, is an image from a project called SoundMind. And SoundMind is a research project at Art, Health and Wellbeing program at King's College London. So they kind of use music and psychedelic image as a mood enhancer, that's what they call it, through sort of interactive lying down concerts. And I visited one of these concerts once, and it didn't look this neat. And there was a lot of people, and it would be completely breaking all the COVID rules. Everybody's lying on the floor. It was really hot, and they have these projection of images up in the sky. And that's kind of the first time I realized that by just lying down, it makes you interact with your environment very differently. So like I mentioned, the concert chiefly consists of minimum piano depicting kind of a transition of an evening into nighttime alongside with images on the ceiling. This work really helped me question my own sort of prejudice against rest and the expectation of the process of healing. And also how by lying down you completely quieten down. So as somebody who suffers severe depression and sleep problems, nighttime is a very contentious place for me. It's not a place that I associate with healing and rest, and it is actually a quite a quiet time that gets me quite anxious, because I was super aware that I wasn't well, I wasn't sleeping, I was not doing everything that one's supposed to do at nighttime. So now I would like to draw your attention to another interaction created by an art collective called Uncharted Collective. And this particular work you can see is called A Crash Course in Cloud Spotting. This installation questions the etiquette in our public space and about lying down, and attempts to create a resting space within larger public space. The founder of this collective, like me, suffers invisible disability. Rest is a very contested social activity as well as a personal need to survive. As mentioned in my last slide, that I often cannot rest at night lying in my bed. Being horizontal every day is quite confrontational to my disability, and it creates a sense of shame. And all of these expectations feed into my depression and pushes me into a further exile. So a lot of the time when I encountered this work, I was homeless living in London. So I was sleeping on other people's couches and various things. So there's a lot of instability, and once again, lying down and being at nighttime, it wasn't the most restful and peaceful thing for me. And these calls with my friends on people's couches, on the floor, and at times in a park has helped me through the night. So that's why I kind of made this thing. And then finally, I actually would like to show the theme moon. Actually, before I move on, I think I jumped too quickly. So being horizontal for me in this particular slide, it really made me question disability, vagrancy, and also the shame of resting just in general, not necessarily just in the public space. So finally, I'd like to share how the theme moon interacts with these personal collections of images, and also the personal reflection I shared on the previous themes of night and horizontality. So the moon has a strong association of female transgression and female power in Chinese culture, which I am part of. There are numerous myths and legends, both in ancient time and modern Chinese culture, depicting the moon both as a refuge and a prison for heroines who challenges and transgress patriarchal values. So if you are a woman, you've done something wrong, they tend to send you to the moon. So my birth zodiac animal is a rabbit, and without getting into too much information, but her duty on the moon is the chief pharmacist on the moon. I didn't realize you need a pharmacist on the moon, but I guess if you need a pharmacist anywhere, why not on the moon? So, and finally, Mid-Autumn Festival, which falls on the 8th full moon every year, and that tends to be the fullest moon, and mooncakes are typically consumed as part of the celebration. The origin of these kind of very intricate desserts, which I'll move myself there, is above me. It's kind of a sweetened white kidney bean and lotus bean paste mixed together, encasing 1 or 2 salt-cured egg yolk. And it is generally believed that this dessert kind of played a vital role in coordinating a very important coup to overthrow Yuan dynasty. And that is the dynasty basically depicts the legacy of Genghis Khan's ruling in China. And the moon has always offered kind of a sense of belonging and refuge for my unruly body and mind. And along with night, it offers kind of a universal resting place, a universal place for rest and healing, or at least it's supposed to be. Yes, it is a very bitter and sweet. It's quite bitter and bittersweet to have a witness such as the night sky, so indifferent to the ebb and flow of a human life, whether to be offered to spend time horizontally with another at nighttime under the moon has forever entwined with my humanity, and I'll explain that a little bit further. So growing up, I spent a lot of time in hotels, spent a lot of time in boarding schools, spent a lot of time with my friends. It's not until I was 28, it was the first time I was regularly sleeping on my own. So sharing my bed at night with some other human has always been a big part of my identity and story. And it was not until I was 28 I realized that's the case. And I am 33 now, so it's all very new for me. Hold on a second. So to complement this video, I've decided to develop maybe an audio recording, which is kind of because the whole point of making these sort of collecting all these images from people is just because I desperately want to share their physical environment together, right? So when I call my friends at night, they often send me, hey, you know, this is where I am. So this video is kind of a collection of where they are. So I thought, why not to make a further work to kind of maybe a monologue, like a one part phone conversation. So the audience are kind of eavesdropping into an intimate moment about love, life, and loss between two friends lying down. So kind of this is kind of in the making at the moment, and the format and the content of the work is kind of informed by this kind of two things showing at the moment, which is NASA's sleep and study, sort of sleep and sleep diary thing, and also a radio show from BBC Radio 4 called Bunk Bed. I'll get into both of them slightly just to give a little bit of context of kind of a little snippet of work I'll be showing later. So NASA obviously is very interested in sleep because astronauts spend a lot of time in space without gravity and in a confined space, so they've done a huge amount of research, and I discovered they had this sleep diary thing, which I'll move myself to stand above this image. And it's very small because I didn't want to draw too much attention, but they were actually just asking astronauts over kind of intercom system, so they have to verbally document how they're doing, are they sleeping, what are they thinking about. That's why I thought, wow, that's actually really cool. It's kind of a one-parted conversation recording what is nighttime, what is rest for them. Is there a night when you're in space? Like, what does that even mean? Like, I feel like nighttime is only exists in contrast with day, and it's kind of a very earthbound experience for me. Does that mean lack of sun or lack of night or lack of that rhythm? Does that mean you are in perpetual night? Or are we in this odd time when we have the daytime when we're on Earth? So that's something I really thought about. And then the bunk bed thing is actually a old friend and a new discovery because they've changed production and changed the way things are done. And like I mentioned before, there's always been someone else who's sharing my sleep or my sleeping space. I remember having very good conversations with friends on the top bunk and you just kind of stream of consciousness conversation the two people kind of having before they both went to bed, before they went to sleep. So I thought it would be really cool to make some artwork about it. So I think, I don't know how I'm doing for time. I think we're able to have a conversation. Not conversation, able for me to read out the sort of the monologue I was writing. So if you're able, find somewhere to lie down and close your eyes and listen to the next, I think it's 4 minutes. So I'll give you some time. And you can like turn the computer away or whatever, so you're not looking at it, but if you're lying down, you're not looking at it anyway. So I'll give you some time. And ready and lie down and just take a few breaths. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Oh, hey, is this a good time? Oh, are you? Oh, okay, no problem, I'll wait. Hello again. You sure this is a good time? Right. Okay, how are you? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Oh, sounds fun. Oh, I don't know. I don't think this weekend is going to be the time. Work is dragging on. I'm really behind, so I'm going to do overtime again. Yes, yes, ping meals. Ping! Yeah, they should call them ping meals and pay me lots of money for not coming up with the term. No, yeah, I didn't. I heard it from my old neighbor. So when his wife would go away, she'd prepare all the meals and put them in a container, and then he would reheat them all up in a certain order in the microwave. So he called it ping meals because it pings in the microwave. And every time he say it, he would point his finger upwards and wink and go ping. Yeah, what about you? What did you eat today? Oh, don't you eat that at Christmas? No. I just mean we only eat it at Christmas here. I guess there's nothing stopping you eating it whenever you can get your hands on it, right? No, I'm not upset. Well, okay. I sometimes I worry. I worry you have nothing to say to me, or that you don't say anything that make me worry about you the same way you always worried about me. I don't know if you're just withholding, or I'm just full of problems, or you just find my life entertaining and my struggles amuses you. Either way, you are never in the thick of it with me here, and you always seem to be able to be so far away. Yes, I do remember. And I understand. I appreciate we call, but it just seems you never have anything to say, and you do think that I always have something interesting to say, but I don't. And so when you call me, I panic and I think of something to say, and I just dig into things in my life that I'm upset about to provoke a reaction from me to entertain you. Yes, like a bad contestant in a talent show. Oh, hang on. I'm going to open the window. Someone's smoking weed in the house again. No, the couple's moved out. I think the people in that room right now are brothers. Oh, I can see the moon tonight. It looks fuzzy and very passive aggressive. I don't know how a moon can look passive aggressive. It just is. Oh, did you know that once I was really sick as a kid and we were in a hospital, me and my dad, for a long time, and I was grumpy and he was trying to cheer me up and I was not having any of it. He suddenly told me that he has a present for me and leapt out of the room. He came back with the cheeky grin on his face and something hidden behind him. And then he just pulled out a big black bowl. And I was looking at him bewildered, and he told me to wait and put the bowl on a table and pull the table here and there and finally settled it somewhere next to me. And then he just, as if he's an entertainer on stage, he began to pour water into the bowl very dramatically and mysteriously. And I just flopped backwards in irritation. And then he said, "Oh, come on, just look." When I brought my head forward, I saw a wobbly moon in the bowl. And he said, "Ta-da! You can have the moon all for yourself tonight." Yes, he was and still is a very charming man. Yes, but he's not a very nice man. He's too good at apologies. You know, it sounds nice. Earlier, you said that you sit up and read instead of lying down if you can't sleep. I think I should do that. We can lie down together, maybe, and read, or I don't know, do nothing together. All we can do, I guess, is to do the right things, the right routines at the right time, the right light level, just for the promise of a good night's sleep. But that's all we can do. Do the right things and wait. Yeah, I guess. And that's it, folks. That's the end of my little performance. You can get up and turn your video back on so I'm less lonely. And come back and sit with us again. And hello, presenters.
Hello, that was really wonderful, Sai. Thank you so much. It was great just listening to you talk and thinking about what the other person might be saying and following the twists and turns of the conversation and wondering, how did we come here? How did we get to this place? I really enjoyed that. Fascinating talks from both of you. Thank you so much, Sai and Shania. This is the last of the series of artist talks going along with On Ancient Earth, and the exhibition itself is going to be going offline at the end of the day today. So just for those of you listening, if you haven't already checked the exhibition out, please do. I've posted a link to it in the comments section. And I've also posted the Artist Expedition Society and Lumen's Instagram handles. It's really worth following both of those just for upcoming events and opportunities. So just to close the series, thank you so much everyone for joining us. I really appreciate the interaction with these amazing talks, and thanks again to the artists who have spoken. We've had 15 artists in total engaged with the exhibition, providing work, and a number of speakers, and the amount of time and effort that's gone into all of the creative output is massive, and it really shows, and it's really a wonderful exhibition and series of talks. I can't believe how engaging it's all been. Just a huge thank you to Lumen and to Rebecca. There's been so much behind the scenes work that's gone into this series, and without them it really would not have gone ahead. And of course the Earth Sanctuary, the physical location that the exhibition was set, the Desert Festival, the festival surrounding the event itself, and the Alice Springs Town Council who funded the talk series. So thank you everybody for making this such a wonderful success, and I hope to see you at the next Artist Expedition Society and or Lumen event. Cheers.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to all the artists. It's been really amazing experience.